Good morning, boys and girls. Got the early lesson today. Hope we're doing well. Today is May 7th, 2020. All right, today we're really throwing it back and we're talking about the coordinate plane today. All right, we're going to talk about quadrants and we're going to talk about reflecting. Okay, so let's draw up the plane. I got my vertical number line. All right, and I got my horizontal number line. Now, like I always tell you in class, I'm not really a fan of drawing a plane when I don't have graph paper, but due to our circumstances, I'm gonna have to deal with it, right? I'm just gonna go up to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's remember our horizontal number line. Okay, this is called our x-axis. And our vertical number line, this is called our y. Okay? Now let's talk about our quadrants. This area here, this is called quadrant 1, which means everything here is positive. Okay? Over here, this is quadrant 2. Quadrant 2 has a negative x and a positive y. Okay? This is quadrant 3. Okay? This has everything negative. Negative x, negative y. And quadrant 4 is a positive x and a negative y. So let's say your point ended up here, right? It would be in quadrant 4. If your point ended up here, it would be in quadrant 1. If it ended up here, quadrant 2. And if it ended up here, quadrant 3. Okay? So I'm going to just do number 1, but I'm going to do everything that they're asking, okay? So I'm going to plot the ordered pair in the coordinate plane and describe the location. So my point is 1, 3. Okay, this is my ordered pair. Okay? Remember, the first point in the ordered pair, the first number, you always look on your x. And the second number in the ordered pair, you look on the y. Okay? So I look on my x for 1. This is 1. I look on my y for 3, right? So what I do is I go to 1 and then I go up to 3. And then I put a dot where the points meet. And that's how I mark up my ordered pair on a coordinate plane. Wherever the 2 points meet is where the dot goes, okay? And look where this is located now. This point is located in quadrant 1, okay? Now, let's talk about reflections, okay? We can reflect over the x and we can reflect over the y, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this point 1, 3, and I'm going to reflect it over the x, okay? So when you reflect over the x, let's remember one important thing. You keep the x. You keep the x and you just put the opposite of y, right? To reflect in the x-axis, use the same x and change the y. Okay? To reflect in the x-axis, use the same x and change the y. Okay? So, I'm using the same x, okay? I still got 1. So I go to 1. Now I take the opposite of this y. What's the opposite of positive 3? It's negative 3. So, reflection of x. My new point is keep the x, change the y. So this is my new point. So I go to 1, and then I go to negative 3, and I put the dot. okay? If you notice, when I'm reflecting over the x-axis, this is the x, right? So the point is being reflected over the x. It's being reflected over the x, okay? Now my point went from quadrant 1 to quadrant 4, okay? So I'm also going to reflect this point, our first point, over the y. Since I reflected this point over the x, it goes over the x-axis, right? Now I'm going to take this point and reflect it over the y, which is this, right? This is our y. So when we reflect over the y, we keep the y and change the x. When you reflect over y, you keep the y and change the x, okay? So reflection, y. Keep the y and change the x. My x is 1. So what's the opposite of positive 1? That's right. It's negative 1. And now I'm just going to keep the y. And it's 3. Okay? So now my new point I'm looking for is negative 1, 3. Here's 0. Remember, 0 is always in the middle. So I go to negative 1. And then I go to 3. So here's my y reflection. This is negative 1 and 3. And if you notice, right, if I reflect over the y, it goes over the y-axis. If I reflect over the x, it goes over the x-axis, right? Make sense? If you have any questions, please put them in our Google Hangout or in our Google Classroom. Please email all your teachers. Please check in. Please check in with all of your classes. And I want you to have a great day. All right? Bye-bye.